Hey, welcome back. My name is Nick. The channel is Think Clean Sober. Welcome back. Today I'm doing really good. I just wanted to update you that yes, on the channel itself, I've been away for a while. I'm not going to apologize. I took a little hiatus to rethink myself and rethink things through. And like I said in my last video, I started a podcast, and in regards to, if I'm doing this and why I'm doing this, because I'm doing it because I want to, not because I'm looking at, any monetary value. I don't see this as a monetary value. I see this as uh, a value of well-being, health, spirituality, whatever it may be, whatever you want to put a label on it, that's what it is. For me, it's freedom from active addiction. It's a freedom that what I'm looking for is what has been given me, and that's through sobriety, staying clean, staying sober, no drugs, no alcohol, and life is great. And I wanted to share it with you and see if I can give you some tips that I use and things that I've learned from other people on my path of this journey of recovery and sobriety, just to give to you. It's, you don't, if it doesn't work for you, don't use it. But if it's something that you want to try, absolutely try it, because it is an experiment game. It is a game of listening to your body, to your mind, and to your spirit. It is everything. So today I want to touch base, and I want to kind of get back to the roots a little bit. So today is about learning about our sobriety, and I'm going to get into the basics of uh, fellowship, 12-step programs, and why that could be something that's for you. And if it's not, that's perfectly fine. Take it, leave it. And if you don't want to listen to anything about 12 steps, then just, shut it down, go and listen to something else, and maybe listen to my next one. But you know what? Give it a chance and see if this is for you. All right. So again, so life being sober, I've been going to 12-step meetings for over 16 years now, and life has been really good, really good. And yeah, it's something that recovery has given me a lot of things, prospects of not only uh, getting the freedom from drugs and alcohol. It's is being able to actually move forward in life, uh, getting through the trauma, getting through the addictive properties, and learning more about myself and who I am and who I've become today, and who I can still become tomorrow. And we don't know what tomorrow may bring, but it's always have that hope. And they always say it's the hope, it's the program suggestion. So that's why I said, if this is not for you, take it with a grain of salt. However, maybe there's some bits and pieces here for you. But today I'd like to get a little bit on to the first thing we need to learn is about ourselves. And that's in the 12 steps. Once we put down the substance, we need to fill this void. So what in my notes, and I'm just using my notes here, I just wanted to say that putting down the drugs is one thing. Putting down the alcohol is another thing. But we need to fill that spot. We need to fill that spot with information, with something else that is not going to put us back to where we were, right? So think about that. So we need to get surrounded with people for support and positivity. And that's what they call fellowship meetings. And fellowship meetings is where all addicts or alcoholics get together and share their experience, strength, and hope, share the struggles, and try to find something from somebody else that they did that works for them to get through the day. Get connected with social networks like there's AA and NA, and this is the spots where I'm talking about the 12-step or fellowship meetings. There's AA, NA, and any of the A's. We're talking Overeaters Anonymous. We're talking Sex Addicts Anonymous. I'm talking about emotional well-being anonymous meetings. There's even Gamblers Anonymous, and all of them. There's so many. In fact, I remember one time I looked up a little while back, and there had to have been 30 6 anonymous meetings of various topics and programs. It was just mind blowing. I was like crazy mind blown away that it's like, so something about the 12 step programs actually work. They take the 12 steps of the original AA and then they just cater it and reword it for themselves. It works. And it's worked for me, and I know it could most likely work for you. However, moving on. So, getting professional support for additional growth. So, if there's other trauma issues where you need a counselor, for example, required some anger management, so I had a counselor for anger management. I even had a counselor for family therapy or family issues and stuff. And those are all great. These are things that you can tag on or add on to, not only the 12-step program, but these are things that we can also add on to our tools of support systems, our tools of life lessons, and tools that get us through everyday living, all different kinds of circumstances. Even going back to school, that's what it is going back to school, relearning, figuring out who we really want to be this time. I went to school before, and when I got back, I ended up working in a factory that had nothing to do with what I went to school for originally. I went to school originally for architecture, and needless to say, it was more of a party rather than education. And I was there more for the wrong reason rather than the right reason. So moving on, I also want to say is we now need to get mastering what our sobriety is. Mastering our sobriety. So what, right? You go to these programs, you do steps, and you start doing these things, your readings, and you share about yourselves. So what, right? Well, there's a lot more to it. And this is where I say we need to master our sobriety. Our sobriety, personal sobriety, in my opinion, is working the steps, going to meetings, helping others seek sobriety, and being of service. So first things first, they say you need to learn steps. First, you put the drugs down. Now we need to get in. Once you get the sobriety, we got to fill ourselves with information. We need to get the steps. So start learning the steps. All right, so we start working the steps. You find somebody, and that's a person that we'll meet at the meetings. We meet somebody that's going to be like our sober coach, and basically in the fellowship, that's called a sponsor. And now a sponsor that you seek out doesn't pay you in monetary. So the phrase is, they're not your banker, they're not your taxi cab, they're not your doctor, but there's somebody there that's going to help guide you. That's why I say a sober guide you in this 12-step program. Help answer the questions, help who gets to know you, because you're supposed to, in essence, you are to share your story with them, who you are, where you came from, so that they can help you, guide you in the right direction. So that person in that program is called a sponsor. But if it's too, I like to also use it as a sobriety guide or sober guide or a sober coach, whichever you want to call it. That's what it is. I had a little spider there. All right, so the next thing's next. So now we're working the steps, learning the literature. So we get the literature. There's books. There's all kinds. There's ebooks. There's hardcover books. I strongly suggest getting physical literature. Now, I'm just going to grab a book here. Okay, well, so this is not working too well for me, but there's this book, and it's called the NA Basic Text, and that was the first book I got. This is a really old book. I tabbed it. I highlighted lines and everything in here. Very good, interesting. It's a very good guidebook on getting you started, but then there's other literature that is companions that you can use. But these are the things that get you started to read and understand about 12 steps and later on, the other 12s. So we get to use this book to master our sobriety. And that's what we need to do. We need to start mastering our sobriety. The only way we can get into freedom of self, happiness, that's what we will ultimately want. It's not money. It's not the women, the cars, the houses, or the men, or whatever you want to call it. It's not those things that you obtain. It's not the toys. It's freedom. That's ultimately what we want. And I know that's what I wanted constantly. So getting a book, getting to understand that it's steps, or it's working our way into freedom. Freedom from active addiction, and freedom is basically from mastering our sobriety, our clean time, all that. And I hate to say clean time because I don't want it convoluted with, washing dishes or anything like that. I want it understood that when you go to a 12-step program, and it's the one for Narcotics Anonymous, they talk about being clean. They don't use the word sober, because clean is meaning drugs are dirty, and they emphasize clean. They don't emphasize sober, but sober is a very, essentially, it's a very well-known word, that you're sober is sober. You're drug free and alcohol free at the same time. So, and I also mentioned that going to meetings is very helpful. It's like somebody that's going to church. They go to church on a regular basis to seek out their spiritual well-being, whether it's through God or through regular church. It could be anything. It doesn't matter. And I'm not going to get into this religious thing in this on here on this channel, but I do know that when you get the literature, it talks about God a lot, but in the literature, it also says of your understanding, right? So again, take it with a grain of salt. It is something that you choose. It can be anything. It could be any kind of situation, or any kind of scenario, or any kind of object. It could be anything. It's what you choose that gets you through the day, or what gets you through life in general, period. I got mine, and I will share it later on again. Helping others in sobrieties, being of service and helping others in sobriety to gain or maintain sobriety. Once you get clean time, once you get some being sober for a while, you help others. How? Being a sponsor, being their sober coach, being their sober guide. That's essentially empowering. Because then when you're helping somebody else, you're not realizing it, but you're helping yourself. You're using positive enforcement, positive energy, and when you're getting this positive energy because you changed your life, you're sober, you're getting that back. And that's, people call it karma, call it what you will, but it's laws of attraction. It's the laws of the universe is throwing that back at you, and that in itself is rewarding. Working the steps, learn the literature from other people who found recovery and sobriety in today's age is simple. However, it is very difficult at times. There's a lot of different interpretations, but what you got to do is cater it to your own self. It's the same written literature, but you can actually use it to cater it for yourself, for your heart, for your mind, and for your well-being. And that's easy enough to do. So we need to get out of our own way. So what I'm saying in this note here about getting out of our own way, I find that people make things difficult. I, in the beginning, made things difficult. I said, oh, this literature is a joke, it's BS, or this doesn't make sense, so I'm going to ignore it. Instead, I could have just catered it and made it so it was for me. I've seen other people in recovery take certain segments of literature or information, and instead of saying, oh, that doesn't work, cater for themselves. And everything we learned in the literature of the different programs of the different fellowships can be changed so that it's for us. We use that original information take it so how it works and then make it so or adjust it so that it is for us. It is for you. And it's for everybody. Anybody that wants it, it's for them. So, like I said, I mentioned the other 12s. The 12 steps is what they say, and I've always been told this. The 12 steps is about keeping ourselves from committing suicide. So think of this. The 12 steps is about self, keeping you from committing suicide or keeping you from killing yourself, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or all around a physical killing yourself. The 12 traditions is the next, the second set of 12s that are in the different fellowship books and in Narcotics Anonymous, because I'm going to always emphasize Narcotics Anonymous because it's a very technical written books that they have. In Narcotics Anonymous, the 12 traditions is about us being safe around others, about being, why are we of service, why are we of a group, a small community, okay? It's how, as an individual, I don't kill somebody else. So the cliche is the 12 steps, and now I've got the 12 traditions. It's how to get along with others. The 12 traditions essentially gets us where, as long as we understand the 12 steps, or as long as we know that personal recovery or personal sobriety, we hold that as our priority in our life and understanding, then we can move on to not only who we are, is understanding who our identity is. It's now, what is our identity to others? And to others is the 12 traditions. Getting to know the 12 traditions helps us understand how we can be as a group, how we get along, and how we can help others. If we follow the steps and we follow the traditions, they say, and it's funny because in the writing of one of the literature, it says that it's non-negotiable. But there is some sort of freedom in there. Like, there, even though this is non-negotiable, these things are not going to change. However, there is freedom within the written literature of the 12 traditions. Then I've also studied the 12 concepts, which is the third. The third one is the 12 concepts is as we as a group of individuals or as a small society, now we're a group, now society at large, where what is the purpose of society as a group to society as a whole? And that's where first we find our identity, which is the steps. Then we find ourselves, what is our position in, in society. And the next thing is, let's not commit so the cliche, and I'm kind of stumbling over my words. The cliche is the 12 steps is keeping ourselves from killing ourselves. The 12 traditions keeps us from committing, homicide by, so we don't kill somebody else. And the cliche for the concepts is, keeping us from committing genocide. So working as a group, becoming part of society, and understanding that where is our part as a group in society as a large, as the whole world. And that's where our position is. Why are we here, and what can we do to better as a group to belong to society or to the world itself? What is our part in the world? And once we understand all these things, we become a productive member of society. We become compassionate, loving, caring, and understanding, and many other things. Whatever you want to throw at it, put it on there. But honestly, being negative, being isolated is the complete opposite. And understanding that we have to play the part in society again, because we belong in society in one shape or form, but we have to do it the right way and the positive way. We can't be negative all the time. We just got to understand that this is how life is. But first, we just have to learn who we are. So what, right? What is your take on the 12 steps, 12 traditions, and 12 concepts? Let me know in the comments. And I do appreciate it. I'm going to take this Gonna end this right here. Stumbling over my words, but I'm getting better, I think. My name is Nick. This is Think Clean Sober, and remember, closing out, just make a point of this. If you want to make somebody else's day better, help them out, become a listening ear, because if an addict's not able to, or an alcoholic is not able to share, or if they are not allowed to uh, say what they got to say because something's bothering them, talk to them, lend a listening ear, help them out, be compassionate. Anyways, give yourself a break. Recovery is a journey, it's not a sprint. See you. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.